You wake to the sound of soft rain against the wooden shutters. The air inside your small room feels cool and damp, and the faint scent of last night's smoke still lingers in the air. Your blanket, woven from coarse wool, scratches gently against your skin as you pull it closer to your chin. Somewhere outside, you hear the low murmur of a cart, wheel turning slowly over wet earth. It is morning, but not the bright, crisp kind that makes you rush outside. This is the sort of day where light comes filtered through thick, gray clouds, and the streets remain quiet for longer than they should. You let your eyes rest half-closed, listening to the uneven rhythm of the rain, and for a moment you imagine it might stay like this forever. When you finally sit up, the wooden floor under your bare feet feels cold enough to make you draw back. The same floorboards have been here since before you were born, uneven, splintered in places, with the faint smell of earth rising from below. A single clay cup rests on the small table by your bed, holding yesterday's water, now warm and a little stale. You drink it anyway. Outside your door, the air smells different than it used to. There's the usual mixture: damp soil, straw, the faint tang of smoke from cooking fires. But now there's something else, a sharpness, almost metallic, that you can't quite name. You think of the whispers you heard yesterday, spoken in the low tones people use when they don't want to be overheard. Someone's cousin in the next village fell sick, couldn't breathe, skin turned dark in patches. You step outside slowly, pulling your cloak around you. The street is narrow and muddy, lined with small houses built close together, their roofs sagging under the weight of rain. Water runs in thin streams along the center of the path, carrying bits of straw, leaves, and something darker you choose not to look at. Across the way, a woman you've known since childhood stands in her doorway. She doesn't wave, just watches the street, her eyes lingering on every passerby, as though weighing whether to speak to them or not. When she meets your gaze, she gives a faint nod, and you return it. No words, not today. The marketplace is quieter than usual. A few stalls are set up, selling small piles of onions, a basket of eggs, some loaves of bread already turning hard. The air here is heavier, more voices, but each one restrained, as if the weight of the sky has pressed itself onto everyone's shoulders. You pass a man arranging fish on a slab of wood. The fish look fresh, but you notice his hands shake slightly as he works. He catches you looking and forces a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. You buy a small loaf of bread and tuck it into your cloak. As you turn away, you hear two men talking in hushed tones near the edge of the square. They speak of a merchant who arrived from the port just 3 days ago. He had been coughing, they say, and now no one has seen him since. One of them swears he heard wailing from the merchant's house last night. You walk home slowly, taking the longer path past the fields. The earth here is dark and wet, the rows of early crops bending slightly under the rain. In the distance, you see the old stone church, its bell silent. You cannot remember the last time it stayed silent this long. Even on quiet days, someone would ring it to mark the morning or the evening. Now it waits. As you approach your own street again, the smell hits you, faint but growing. It is not the clean scent of rain-washed soil. It is heavier, sour. It clings to the back of your throat in a way that makes you swallow hard. You quicken your pace without meaning to. Back inside, you set the bread on the table and sit. The room feels smaller than it did this morning. You can hear the rain still falling, though more softly now. Somewhere a door slams shut, followed by hurried footsteps fading away. You think of the stories, the ones told by travelers and sailors, about sickness moving like a shadow from town to town. They say it begins with a fever, then swellings under the skin, then the skin itself changing color. Some recover, most do not. You take a slow breath and close your eyes. The bread sits untouched. Outside, the street is quiet again, as though the whole village has agreed to speak less, to move less, to wait for something none of you can name, but all of you can feel. The rain tapers off to a fine mist. You pull the blanket from your bed and wrap it tightly around yourself. The wood in the small fireplace has gone cold, but you don't bother to light it. Instead, you sit in the dim light, listening to the faint drip of water from the eaves, and try to convince yourself that the air inside is safer than the air outside. Hours pass like this. The sky never brightens and the streets remain empty. When you finally lie back down, you keep your cloak on and your eyes open, watching the dark beams of the ceiling above you. You think of tomorrow and of the day after, and of the many small things that could change before the week ends. Somewhere in the distance, far beyond the fields, a single bell rings once and then nothing.